You are tuning in to the Cigar Guys Podcast, where aficionados and newcomers alike gather to explore the vast cigar universe. Meet your host, Alexander Gonzalez, Mark Nikollaj, his big little brother Zachary Nikollaj, and Jared Burrows. So sit back, light up, and let's get the conversation started. But first, a quick word from our sponsors.
What if every cigar was considered vintage? What if every cigar that we made was that perfect experience? And so that passion drove us to create Sans Pareil, a cigar without equal. The inspiration between Sans Pareil is 100% all about quality. Everything that we enjoy in our cigars, everything from the tasting notes to the burn, to the aroma, to the way the cigar lights, to the packaging, everything is focused on Sans Pareil cigars. And that's where we came up with our name, Sans Pareil, which is French for without equal, unparalleled. And we take every cigar that we make to that level, making sure that if it isn't something that inspires you to do something more, then it's not part of the portfolio, and that's what drives us every day.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Cigar Guys Podcast. Back in the studio once again with myself, Alex Gonzalez. Zach Nikollaj is here. We have Jared Burrows, and we have our special guest from Aladino Cigars, JRE Cigars. Trey, how you doing today?
Great, man. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Yeah. So we've got some stuff that we're going to try and talk about, but first we do have to try out for the first time the new Cigar Bro lighter that we just got in. And you guys are going to see this on our social media, and we're actually going to do a giveaway for these. So at the Cigar Guys, if you're not following us on Instagram and all the other platforms, this will be an Instagram giveaway. So here right now, I'll do a little close-up for you, is the first impression of the new Cigar Bros lighter, which is a slight upgrade from the previous one. And if you're curious, Trey, this is actually the previous one.
All right, let me see this.
So we've got the V-cut on here. We've got a punch cut as well, which is new. They added the perfect draw here on the side. And instead of, well, actually, it is a triple flame again, but it is a flat triple flame, I guess you could say, as opposed to, kind of a cylinder shape. So a lot of new features here, and of course it's in gold, which I know Jared's a big fan of.
Yes, I love yellow.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and test these out, and then we're going to also talk about what we're smoking. I know that Zach and I have the same thing, and then I believe you guys, Jared and Trey, you both have different cigars. So we'll kind of get into those here in a bit. But let's go ahead and cut light. One thing that is different about this V-cut is it is spring-loaded. So the previous one was not spring-loaded, but this one is. It feels great. Try it out. I do like this flame better because it's all pointing in the same direction. So you kind of have that like pointed flame, or the tip of the flame at least.
I mean, I like this a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
I mean, I hope it's pointing in the same direction, right?
Meaning, it's angled.
That's surprising.
Yeah, you got one pointed at you, one pointed at the
God,
cigar.
that'd be funny.
It's only funny one time, though.
It's like those water guns that shoot backwards.
Damn.
With a prank, it'd be a prank lighter.
Yeah.
All right. So we're lighting up, of course, Aladino cigars. So let's go around the table, and you can tell us about what Zach and I are smoking, what Jared's smoking, and then, of course, what you're smoking right now.
Okay. So you guys have the limited edition. That cigar, it's my favorite overall blend that we've created. I think it's the most mature, luxurious feel to it. It's medium in body, tons of character. It's got an aged Cameroon wrapper that we grow, and that Cameroon gives a nice sweetness to that medium body. With the Corojo in there, adds a little bit of subtle spice. So a little bit of sweet, a little bit of spice. On my end over here, this is the Cameroon that we grow. And so technically they're very similar blends. This wrapper is not the aged wrapper that one is. You can look, this is also a lot darker. So you get, this is a little bit more rugged than that. Is just like so well put together. This one's more like, do you really want Cameroon? Because you're going to get Cameroon.
Gotcha.
So it's one of those things like Cameroon. I know not everybody loves Cameroon, and I'm also in that camp of either love Cameroon or hate it. There's no middle ground for me.
I would agree.
Like zero middle ground. And I absolutely love the Cameroon that we grow. It's the second hardest tobacco to grow, or maybe after we talk tonight, maybe the third hardest. But we grow the two versions that are harder than Cameroon to grow. So this is like, it was still difficult to learn.
Okay.
But it's really cool to be, doing something so unique. Cigar Journal gave this an award for innovation 2 years ago. So just the fact that someone's growing Cameroon, not on the African continent. I call it Honduran, but the family laughs at that. But I'm like, it's Honduran, Cameroon. Just be fun with it,
Yeah, it's a great way to put it. Basically, so you're saying that Cameroon is grown in Honduras.
Yeah.
Essentially, is how that's made.
Yeah. This like similar profiles, only that's going to be a more elegant version of this. This would be more like your everyday. I want to smoke Cameroon every day, which I do. I smoke more of these than literally anything else.
Okay.
That would be like if I'm going to treat myself to some Cameroon on a Friday night sort of thing.
Well, thank you for treating me.
When you say you smoke every day, are we talking one stick? Are we talking 5 sticks?
I smoke less now than when I was in retail, but still, like every time you sit down with a client, you're going to smoke a cigar. So I'm 5 a day for sure.
Nice.
Which, like, the downside of that is when I have my own downtime is where I really want to smoke a cigar, get the enjoyment of it, not be business. And the downside of working on this side of the industry is you don't really get those moments anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm a solid 5 a day, but man, like I wouldn't mind having an extra one at night just to chill out and actually enjoy the process. Like that's what made me fall in love with this whole business, right?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Because when you're working, you're kind of going through the motions. You light up, and you're usually focused on obviously your work, whatever your mission is there. But yeah, it's nothing like sitting by yourself or even with a couple friends.
The best.
Not worrying about anything.
The best.
Absolutely.
And then the other cigar, the third one here, that's the Fumanoche. The Fumanoche literally translates to night smoke. We did not have a cigar. We had cigars that you smoke all day long, and that's kind of like the Julio blends things. He's like, I want people to smoke Aladino all day.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, but Americans especially likes a nightcap.
Yeah.
And we didn't really have one. So I was like, just create a cigar that's, a little bit more in power than everything else we have, but I still want it to be like James Bond, right? Like it's sweet, but powerful at the same time. It's suave, but also a little dangerous.
Yeah, the taste is really strong. And the retrohale is so smooth. There's no burn at all.
It's really cool.
It's so good.
It's a really cool cigar. So the family was really cool to let me and the daughters really come up with the marketing and the look of the packaging for that cigar. And we were just like, Julio and Justo, like, go create this idea. And then they brought it to us 2 Christmases ago. And it was funny. It was like the way Julio blends and does everything. He has an ashtray that has 10 holders, and he always has 10 lit cigars. He's always just checking everything, quality control. Like there's 10 lit cigars at all times. So they brought me 8, and they're like, here's the 8 blends. You got to figure out which one is Fumanoche. And it's like, but you got to do it Julio style. You got to light all 8 of these cigars and smoke them all at the same time. And they were all, and Justo and Julio were both like, the blends are good, but neither one of us smoke strong cigars. So you tell me. Man, I hadn't been buzzing like that since I first started smoking cigars. I was like, this is way too much.
We should do it tonight, All of us light up 8 cigars at once, just around the table.
I was going to say, I think we need to up the challenge of, instead of you smoking 8 or 10 cigars back to back, you should do it all at the same time. I think that would really test the limits of what you can do.
I accept.
Okay, there you go. Fair enough. So you said 2 Christmases ago is when this blend kind of was coming out.
Yep.
Same thing with these, or around the same time?
Yeah, that came out the same year.
Okay.
And that was the first time we'd had enough aged Cameroon. That's really from the first harvest of Cameroon that we did. We had enough wrapper built up. We're like, okay, we can do a limited run. And then since then, like it's limited, but select stores, people that are friends, we've got a stockpile of them.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So you won't see that cigar everywhere, but all the Aladino lounges will always have those, and a few other select retailers that have been to the farm, that are really close to the family, sort of thing. Like it's kind of a reward.
And I asked that too because in my experience with having Aladino, at least locally, I'm familiar with the Corojo Reserva. That's kind of been my go-to, and a few of the other lines, but these are all new to me. And this is so far so good, by the way. Great cigar. I know you gave me a couple to try recently.
Yeah.
Those were all fantastic. I know that some of those were even newer ones too.
You got that. You get the Project Lomas.
I got the Project Lomas, which is like hot off the press.
It's so fun too.
It was a great one. And box press. I know you guys you're not big box press guys.
Our Maduro that we do is box press. And then we did a box press sampler last year with all of our blends in one big sampler box, just to be like, everybody always wants to know what does everyone taste like. And that was actually really fun because you have the exact same blend, but box pressing it changes the temperature that it burns at, which changes the flavor. So it was really fun smoking all of those box press cigars. And the vintage especially was like a whole different smoke in a box press version.
Oh, yeah.
So it's fun to box press things and see where they go.
Absolutely. And I think around the table, we can agree that box press is probably our favorite, not Vitola necessarily, but format, instead of having a round cigar like this, box press is just the way to go.
That's your jam, huh?
Absolutely.
Well, it's easier to hold so you don't drop it,
I mean, that's your thing.
We put it down, it doesn't roll,
That's
That is
fair.
true.
That's
I do
fair.
appreciate that part of it.
Actually, since you brought that up, one thing I did forget to mention, which was kind of sneaky here, is this lighter does have a cigar rest as well. Like the previous one.
It's on
Slightly
side
different,
now.
though. Yeah. So,
I like this
that's
lighter.
new, too. Yeah, it's a great lighter. So I guess it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 in 1, maybe 6 in 1. But yeah, I mean, Cigar Bro, they did a fantastic job with this one. I will say I did recommend them to do something more this style. I'm not going to take credit for it, but in order of operations, that's what happened.
Don't you love it when like something's like, well, that's kind of like me and the Fuminoche. Did I blend that? No. But do I feel like I had a small part in it? Yeah. But I didn't. I mean,
You could have said yes, we wouldn't have known.
all I did was pick the blend. I had nothing to do with the actual blend. And the blends were all so different, right? And
Hey, all a chef does is pick ingredients. All right.
I am no chef. No chef. But Julio and Justo are like really good at what they do, but they're kind of like neither one of them like to venture too far out of the norm.
Yeah.
Unlike like Christian, Justo's younger brother, Christian's way more willing to take a chance, do different things, bigger ring gauges, in
Much bigger.
much bigger. But yeah, it's kind of fun to try a little bit of everything. I wish I could tell you more about that cigar, but it's undisclosed.
Oh.
That's okay.
There
You
are
can
reasons.
guess.
Yeah,
There
like-
are a few good reasons for
Okay.
that one being undisclosed.
And that makes, I think, a lot of stuff that is undisclosed, if it's for the right reasons, that makes perfect sense. I know some brands have been like, oh, it's undisclosed because they're trying to keep it under wraps, but realistically, it's a cigar that any other factory could blend.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to drive business by not being transparent.
Right. Create
Yeah.
the
Or there's hidden tobacco from certain places that was an embargo.
Yeah, I hate that explanation people give.
Yeah.
I think that's the most like scummy marketing, to be honest with you.
you mean when there's not really a reason for it, but they just use it?
Well, when they use like not telling you what's in the cigar as like, oh, there could be Cuban tobacco in here. It's like,
I hate that.
There's not Cuban tobacco.
Like if
in
there's
here.
not, but they're alluding to the fact that it would be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll not to get
There's
much
too
into that.
much of that happens. Though.
Yeah.
But I will say, speaking of Cuban, I do like the design of the band,
Yeah, the double
and the
band,
foot band.
You like that?
It is a Cuban-esque kind of feel too.
Mhm.
Like if you look at some of the Habanos,
Mhm.
especially some of the limited edition ones, the coloring is kind of the same. I do love the design of this band and that one too. The one that Jared's smoking.
Yeah,
It's
from Oche.
similar, but obviously a very different feel. That's more of the metallic
So that
silver kind of feel.
that was a bit of an homage. You got to be a little bit older to remember it, but the old triple Maduro from Camacho, the original triple Maduro, that banding and coloration is an homage to that.
Gotcha.
It is in no way, shape, or form the same blend, and we're not even saying that. But it was just kind of fun to like, let's just just a little subtle homage.
Yeah. I mean, this band kind of gives me like old elegance, if that makes
Yeah,
sense, right?
exactly.
So it gives you that old school feel.
Yeah.
And it's not like reflective or really shiny.
Yeah, it's simple to read.
It's classic.
Yeah.
And the gold is not too much. I think that doing gold in this, not matte necessarily, but
It's close to
not
it.
reflective.
Yeah.
That's the best way to go about it.
It's just a subtle touch.
Absolutely. So let's get to know Trey a little bit. How did you get into cigars, and then how did that lead into you being in the position you are today?
So I'm the polar opposite of most people in this side of the business. I think it was it was Ryan from Oliva that you had on, and he was more classic. Like I wanted to be a rep. Like it sounds so cool and all this. Like, dude, I never wanted to be a rep, let alone where I'm at now. Like this was not by design, not by like what I wanted to happen. So I'll just tell you this story. Number one, if it wasn't for a store owner or a store manager actually asking me one question when I was 20 years old, I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at today. I had been going, freshman in college, and back then you could smoke when you were a freshman in college.
Did you like some account?
Yeah. And was in business school. So I thought just to be cool, business guys smoke cigars, right? So I need to learn how to smoke cigars. So I go to this cigar lounge on Fridays, and I would always grab the exact same, very bland, very basic cigar that we all know. Great starter stick.
Ashton.
No. Don't try to pin me down. But it's a very common smoke.
Gotcha.
And I didn't love it or hate it. It was just kind of like, oh, this is what cigars are, I guess. And every Friday, I bought the same thing for 2 years. And then one day,
2 years, wow.
2 straight years, every Friday. One day I'm in there and the manager goes, I got to ask you, why do you smoke that cigar? You've been doing this every Friday since I've worked here. And I go, I don't know. But it's a cigar. And he just says, well, what kind of food do you like? And I lit up and I'm like, oh man, spicy food. I go through like a bottle of hot sauce a week and blah, 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 blah. And he goes, then why do you smoke that? And again, I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. And he's like, well, if that's the type of food you like, here's a little Flor Dominicana L500. This is probably more in your wheelhouse. Okay. I have no idea. I go home, smoke this thing immediately. All these flavors are coming out, and I'm like, this is a whole different ballgame. And I'm excited. I'm happy. And then I start to sweat. And because that was a very, very, very drastic jump from what I was smoking.
Yeah.
I got pale and sweaty, and I was like, oh my God. Finished the cigar, but I was beat. And my buddy calls me that I smoked with, and he's like, hey man, I was thinking about smoking a cigar at that lounge tonight. You want to go? Yeah. So I go right back in there. I'm still pale. And the manager, like as soon as I walked in, I must have looked like shit because he was like, I'm so sorry if that was too much. And I looked at him and I go,
I want more.
I want another one.
Yeah.
And that literally changed everything and that's why like when I go back to like retail stores, like you have to talk to the customers.
Yeah.
You have no idea what you could be missing out on if you're not engaging with every single person. If you'd never asked me that, I'd still be smoking every Friday night something that I don't really care for.
But it's interesting, you did like that cigar before you tried the cigar that he handed you, right? Or suggested to you, right?
I didn't know any different. So to me, it was like, this is what a cigar is.
That's what's so good. It's so subjective. Now you found something even better, for your palate, right?
100%.
Yeah.
So that's how I started like getting into it. And then I just decided to work in the cigar lounge. Became a total nerd. And that went on through grad school, and I went to a lot of college, so a lot of grad school. Just kept working there, and then eventually, basically bought the doorknob because we had absentee owners that were never theirs, and I was the guy there like 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
Everybody thought I owned the place. I didn't, but nobody had ever even met the owners, so I was like, I need to like chip in somehow, and like at least I can be like, yeah, It's the doorknob. It's me.
Yeah.
Did that, and like I was basically the face of that business all through grad school. And then one day, I was so mad. Again, this is retail. 4 reps had come to see me that day, all unannounced, and they were my least favorite 4 to begin with. So I'm just done. And I looked at the GM and I go, I'm done. For the record, no more. I'm going to the office. I've had a shit day. I don't like these people. And as soon as I'm saying this guy gets out of the car, the parking lot, and he's got a little suitcase behind him. And I go, like this guy, fuck that guy. I want nothing to do with him. And I just go in the office, shut the door. Well, it turns out that guy was Justo Iroa. Now I'm in the office. I have no idea. I'm just like chilling out, having a little bit of whiskey or whatever. I get a little knock on the door, and my manager's like, so I told this guy that you're a really big Lancero fan, and he says he makes the best Lanceros. And I'm like rolling my eyes, and I just grabbed the cigar through the little
Through the slot.
Yeah, through the slot, and I shut the door again. And then I lit it up, started smoking, and I was like, I've never had this flavor in my entire life.
Yeah.
I run out, and I'm like, whatever it is you sell, I want it all. I'll buy it all. Luckily, then, this was when Aladino I was one of the very, very first accounts to have Aladino. There's a reason for that, I'll explain. And at that point in time, all they made was the Corojo. So luckily for me, because I'll buy everything. Well, we only have one thing, so that's good. And that's how I met Justo. And the reason he was out there, he went to college at Kansas State University for agriculture. And I went to the University of Kansas down the road, and that's where the store was at. So when Justo decided to get Aladino rolling and come back to the family business, he thought early on, well, I'll just go back to where I went to college, and like I'll get an easy account there because I went to college there. It'll work out.
You got at least one.
Well, he went there first, and there's no lounge in where Kansas State is.
Oh, okay.
So then he had to be like, well, where's the closest one? It was my place. So that's the only way that we ever met. And then we started talking. We were both farmers. We both have farming backgrounds. We're both really into agriculture. We just happened to choose 2 rival schools in Kansas. We definitely screw with each other on that all the time. But that became more than just a business relationship. It became like a real friendship. And I was out of the industry for 2 years. And he still flew out twice a year just to hang out. Didn't talk business.
Yeah.
Talk more farming than anything, really. And he just tried to convince me. He's like, you need a vacation. I'm like, it's been several years since I've had a vacation. Come to the farm. Just come to the farm and hang out with the family in Honduras. 2 weeks. And I was like, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. So I tell my boss at that time, I'm like, yeah, I need a vacation. He's like, take one. You haven't had it. And then I get down there and I fell in love. Like, big time. And that's when Justo was like, it's really just me and Vivian run this business. We've grown to the point now where you could use some help. This is January 2020, which is a key part of the story.
Great timing.
Yeah. Back then in 2020, there was like no internet. Phones didn't work.
Oh, wow.
So we had no idea what the other outside world was going through. We had no clue. We flew down there just fine. Just down there for a couple weeks. I fall in love, tell Justo, yeah, I'll help the family. But then he says, I have 13 states that have no Aladinos. And I'm like, no. You want me to do some accounting? You want me to do some spreadsheets, marketing?
Yeah.
I know. I'm never going on the road. I did one job for Major League Baseball that required every week to fly somewhere. I'm like, no, I'm not traveling. And he's like, bro, you made a promise to the family. And I'm like, I did. And I have like no reason to say no. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. All right, I'll do this. But once we get it rolling, I'll transition to something else. Like, I am not living my life on the road. So I agree. I called my boss when we got to the capital city, Tegucigalpa. And I'm like, hey, just so you know, this vacation turned into a job and I'm not coming back to Kansas. And he laughed at me. And he's like, Trey, you're coming back to Kansas. And I go, no, I'm not joking. I'm actually going to go straight to Kentucky for some weird reason. And we're going to start life there. He laughed again. He's like, "You're coming back to Kansas, okay?" And I'm like, that was a really weird, way. That was just odd. That was a weird response. We land. Everything was cool on the plane in Honduras. Nothing weird. We get off the plane into the airport in Miami, and we were like, what? It was like a ghost town. There was nobody there, and the people that were there were all masked up, and we were like, what? And people were like rushing, telling us we had to put on masks, and we were like, oh, what is going on? And on the TVs that day, we were watching the TVs, and they were all saying March Madness has been canceled. And I'm like, what could have happened? Like, this is some apocalyptic shit.
Cancel March Madness. What?
And I'll never forget, like, Justo looked at me and he's like, bro, I have no idea what's going on. And I'm like, I don't either. And I just quit my job. And he put his arm around me and he's like, whatever this world is going through, your family now. So, like, don't worry about it. We'll take care of you. And he did. Like, that changed my life forever. But that was literally why my boss was laughing. He's like, Trey doesn't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I was working in the liquor business, which when COVID hit, boomed. And like, the money's in liquor right now. And I was like, no, I'm done. Had no idea what was going on.
That's
no
crazy.
clue. So that's how I started. And it was literally it was mom and pop. It was Justo and Vivian doing everything. They had a few brokers out there helping out. I hit the road. After a while, I was like, you know what? This is an opportunity. If everybody else is going to be scared of COVID, I don't know if I should be or not, but I know if this is the end of the world, I'm going to go out anyway. So let's hit the road. It's an opportunity. Nobody else is out there. Let's get Aladino out there. Worked great. We grew tremendously. And then things just kept growing from there, and we haven't stopped. We're accelerating. This year's phenomenal. And which I know it's been a hard year for a lot of people. So I kind of try to keep my mouth shut because it's been really good for Aladino. We're growing crazy. And they moved me down here and gave me the national sales director job. And that's that. That's why I'm here with you guys.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
Crazy story.
Yeah.
5 years. That's a lot. That's a lot to happen in one little chunk.
Yeah, that's one hell of a way to start too.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, because I mean, we were obviously living here, slowly transitioned into the whole COVID narrative and everything like that.
What was it like here? Because Florida acted differently than everybody
sure.
else. So explain that to me.
From my perspective, I mean, we can all actually,
Yeah.
you can share after because you have a different experience. But Zach and I were both living here at the time, and this whole COVID narrative maybe started like early March. They started talking about it.
Yeah.
And people were saying like, this virus is going to go around. Like, you should start probably getting some masks, like some really good masks that'll filter it out. And I'm like, okay, like maybe I'll get one. And a month or two goes by, nothing's really going on. Some people are wearing masks going around. And I think really it was probably late May, early June is when it really started to ramp up. And people were actually shutting down, and mask mandates were becoming more of a thing.
Yeah. So for here, it was when Disney World closed.
That was the big.
That was which was May.
Yeah.
So when I was at Walt Disney World, like literally the weekend before they closed,
Shit.
and we were talking about this virus. I'm like, it's gonna blow over. Like, we're in the sky gondola things with another, set of people, and we're just all bullshitting about it. They just canceled a huge convention. I'm like, this is all gonna blow over. Then literally like 2 days later, Disney's like, we're closing our doors. And they never close. If Disney close, they don't close during hurricanes. I mean, they never close. So that's when all of Orlando, Florida, really like mask mandate. Every business has to close. And I'm predominantly talking about Orange County.
Yeah.
That's when they kind of locked down and everything. And we had 2 restaurants at the time in Orange County. So we had to go, all to-go orders only, which we were town restaurants we were set up for.
Yeah.
It didn't matter for us anyway. But all to-go only. But then you go to Seminole County, and the further counties you got out from Disney World area, Orlando, the less strict it was. If you were on the beach counties, never a mask mandate. You could go dine in at a restaurant.
Really?
Yeah, go to the beach.
That's
The
incredible.
one thing
Yeah.
about the beaches, at least in Volusia County, was there was a mandate that went out saying you couldn't sit stationary on the beach. If you were on the beach, you had to be moving. They didn't do social distancing, nothing. It was
You
just
had to keep moving.
we had to keep moving. That lasted for a day or maybe 2 days. And then they went back to, okay, well, you can at least social distance. And of course, this is Volusia County. We're at the beach. No one cares.
No.
So there's stuff like that. And then Florida overall, we had maybe 2 months of real like
Yeah.
mask mandates / businesses were shutting down. After 2 months, that kind of opened back up and we were all back on track to essentially more of a normal life.
Thank God.
But I mean, at first it was, I never felt like worried or scared about it. I think a lot of people in Florida felt that same way.
Yeah.
You have a few people, of course,
Sure.
that, were very scared about it. But life, for the most part, besides not going out as much and not really, like for me, I drove across the street to work, went to Publix, whatever. So life was kind of slow for a couple months. But then when the first bar opened up, we're like, all right, we got to go, like, just hang out, do something, get out of the house. So it was a very short, at least in Florida, very short-lived.
From the outside, we all watched Florida and all wished we were there.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yes.
to be honest with you, I mean, I had a blast. But
Yeah, because they had like, I don't know, per county, they had curfews and stuff too, and you really weren't supposed to be out unless you were an essential worker.
Okay.
But I mean, for me, it was like, there's no one on the road right now. This is great.
yeah.
And police aren't pulling people over for this.
Yeah.
I mean, they really don't care. But honestly, Jared at this time was in probably the worst
Yeah.
state you could be in during
So
COVID.
at the time, I was working at Google at the headquarters
Oh, shit.
in California in Mountain View. And so around March 2020, they told us, hey, just stay home. You're not coming in. They locked all the doors. Everyone's key cards don't work anymore. Things like that. It was crazy because I lived in a high rise at the time, and the restaurant bar owners downstairs would like have like speakeasies for people to go into. So I used to hang out with them, keep around certain places. But what's really interesting is like people would dodge you in the streets, if you were wearing a mask or like,
Total.
I remember like Sprouts, Whole Foods, things like that. You'd be denied entry if you didn't have a mask. They'd spray you down or spray the baskets down, like crazy shit. Target actually was the only cool place that stayed open.
Target.
Yeah,
Of all
and
places.
I could go in there. They didn't give a shit. They were super helpful, super nice. I could still have my own groceries, still cook, still do what I need to do. But there was one bar in particular that was so funny. They wouldn't let people in, but they would sell all their beer at like a major deduction in massive jugs. And I could get that. I could also go to other places to get burgers. It was just so different. Everyone, it really drew out who really cares about the economy and people versus
Yeah.
people who are like, I'm so scared,
Yeah.
I'm going to kill your job.
Yep.
It was just so different. And basically being inside for such a long time, it really made me think like, why am I paying all this money in rent when I could just come back to Florida where
Yeah.
my family is anyways? It was just such a weird experience. But I would say it was really shocking to come back to Florida and see people with masks.
Yeah.
I still see it today every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
yeah.
But,
We got lucky in Florida though.
Yeah,
'cause
very.
to be honest with you, I mean, we didn't see too much of like store closures, right? Because even when Disney closed for the 2 months, I mean, they opened back up and they're like, all those 2 months, all they were doing was social distancing, like getting their parks ready, lines ready for social distancing. And literally, that's probably the longest that people closed for. If you closed, most people just started selling to go and it was no issue. And then they allowed to go drinks, so alcohol.
Yeah.
So what would happen is all of our customers, all of our regulars, what they would do is instead of calling and ordering a pizza, they would walk in, order the pizza, and be like, "Hey, can I get a to-go drink?" And then they would all hang out. They'd
There
all
you
be
go.
drinking together. Like,
Yeah.
That's good.
and we would, we're not dumb either. We would watch them and be like, "Hey, how much longer do you want on your pizza?" And they're like,
Yeah.
"Give me another 10 minutes." All right, cool. And we pull it out. Let
That's
it sit,
hilarious.
throw it back in,
People
so it's
just
still
finding a way to still be a human.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, I was in college at the time, and it was,
Where were you going to school?
UCF.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so I remember spring break. It was just like, hey, you're not coming back. So I'm, studying online and everything, and the only place that was open was Corona Cigars, because they were
Nice.
not a
Nice.
bar, they were a cigar lounge.
That's awesome.
No,
So-
so what they were doing actually is during that 2-month period, they transitioned into a liquor store. So they were doing the to-go only too. So we could sit outside, grab our cigars to go. I don't think we could technically grab drinks, but they were selling bottles and stuff. So that was kind of their workaround.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I mean, that was a month or two maybe. Then we started going back there. And even they had their little like social distancing
The
things on the
stickers,
floor. Yeah, and there's probably some still there that they couldn't bring up.
But it was great because I used to study at Starbucks, and they stayed closed as to go only, and then Corona opens up, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna study here every day. So every day from literally 9 to 5, basically,
Perfect.
I was there.
Perfect.
So what was your experience like then since you got back and you decided I'm going to be on the road?
Yeah.
How did that work out for you?
During when COVID was
Yeah.
like legit, it was different from state to state.
Okay, makes sense.
And I was doing a loop from where was the furthest I went north at that time? Des Moines, in Chicago to Virginia Beach.
Okay.
So those 13 states, and they all treated it differently. You had to know the rules in each one of them. And some people, I would forget sometimes. I was living in Kentucky, and Kentucky was way more free than a lot of the rest of the country was. So you could get away with almost whatever you wanted to do personally in Kentucky, and I'd have to like forget some of that. And when I'm in a different state, especially like Illinois, like if I acted like I was in Kentucky, I would be an asshole. And they didn't want to do business with me just because I was being disrespectful. I was like, so I was really like taking notes. This state wants you to act this way. This state wants you to act that way. There were lots of stores that put in like locks and things on the humidors, and you couldn't go in the humidor. So just the owner would be like, what do you want? I'll go get it. No one's allowed in. And I'm like, this is not right. I hated it with a passion. There were just so many different things. I could go on and on and on about the weird stuff. I can tell you a funny one. In Pennsylvania, there was no workaround on being open. Like, none. So cigar lounges were effectively completely shut down in Pennsylvania at that time. But I'm still on the road. I'm still trying to see people. So I'll just go in there and I'll just call the store owners and be like, where do you want to meet? Let's talk business, like whatever I got to do.
Yeah.
So this one store, it's a very, it's, Paulie and Gino,
Okay,
Yeah.
that type of place.
Yeah.
They were doing a lot of illegal shit. We'll put it that way. Like you go to their place and there's like a cow, hanging, and there's a butcher in there.
Oh, okay, so
And-
real.
Yeah, this is like
Like a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
but not.
And Pennsylvania is state-ran liquor, so you know what liquor you're getting. Except for you can go to this place. It's all the liquor you are not supposed to have in Pennsylvania.
Gotcha.
And they have a walk-in beer cooler and a walk-in cigar lounge. And it on the outside, it looks like it's a warehouse, right? So I'm calling Paulie, and I'm like, Paulie, man, I'm driving around. Like, this looks like there's no way to get in your business. Like, can we meet somewhere else? And he's like, no, business is business as usual. And he goes, you just got to go in the back alley. You just go around the back alley and come in that door. And I go in there. There's like 50 people in there, and they're making sandwiches and they're yelling at each other. It's just Italian as it gets. And while we're there, they have black curtains. They blacked out all the windows so nobody could see in, right? There's some very aggressive knocks on the door. Paulie goes out there. There's 8 cops. And he opens the door and he's like, what can I do for you gentlemen? And they're like, Paulie, we know you're running business. You can't have a business. And he's like, what are you going to do about it? And he's like, well, you can do a lot about it. So they're getting into this fight. Paulie's being real bravado. And he's like, what are you going to do? We're going to fine you. We're going to shut you down. You're never going to be in business again. The cops are getting aggressive. And he goes, well, I got somebody I want you to talk to. You got to tell them what you just told me. Come in. So these guys walk in. These cops walk in. There's like 50 people in here. We're all like,
Yeah, what's going on?
going on? And he goes, why don't you tell everything you just told me to the chief of police because he's here. And the chief was like, what are you guys doing here? And they're like, we're just doing our job. And he's like, not here. You don't do your job. Like, you don't worry about this place. Like,
Exactly.
it was freaking hilarious.
That's funny. I heard an identical story similar to that
Yeah.
at a different business here in Miami or
Here.
Well,
in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't Miami. It was in Florida. And, not going to say names, but that was a very similar situation. Cops came in. They're like, hey, listen, you can't be doing this. And it was either like the chief of police or the mayor or someone was sitting there. Same thing. The guy goes, tell everything you just told me to this person. And then they just like faces drop. They're like, you know what?
Yeah.
We're just going to leave. So it's funny how.
I love we have stories like
Because
this.
listen, at the end of the day, whether it's the chief of police or the mayor, they don't want to be locked up in their house.
No.
And they know that realistically what is going on is probably overreach.
Yeah.
And if you're not sick, just like with everything else, whether it's the flu or whatever, if I've got a fever, I'm staying home.
You're staying
I
home.
feel like
Yeah,
staying
just-
home.
just be smart.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not going out.
respectful.
Whatever. So if you're not sick, what's the problem?
Yep.
And I think it's great that we were able to kind of come out of that and that there were businesses that did stand up to that. Because, do what you want. Stay home, shut your business down, whatever. But if you want to live normal life for essentially what is a cold or a flu that you may or may not get, what are you doing?
I think the weirdest part was staying in hotels. There's lots of times I was the only dude there.
Oh yeah,
It was really weird.
Actually,
that could be
yeah.
awkward, yeah.
When I did end of 2020, like December, my dad and I flew out to Los Angeles for business. And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you we went to Starbucks like 3 blocks away and then back to the hotel, and we saw, not including like the 2 people that were working at Starbucks, 4 people outside.
No shit.
Total ghost town, no cars, everything was empty. Like the hotel was essentially empty as well.
Uh-huh.
So I saw on that trip, like outside of the airport, maybe 6 people besides
It's so
us.
weird.
It is the weirdest thing.
I mean, we went through a really weird time in life.
Yeah.
Like, we'll never be able to forget it. We'll never be the same. I mean, try to get back as much normalcy as possible, but I think people forgot what life was like before COVID. I don't see parties like I used to.
Yeah, like house
and
parties
no,
or like, yeah, I know.
people just quit doing it.
Yeah.
It's like not coming back at all, which is weird to me. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Concerts aren't like what they used to be. Like, that's weird.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm like, did you guys forget how to have fun? Did everybody
Yeah.
forget?
No, genuinely, post 2020, life has not been the same
No.
from what it was prior to COVID.
No.
Yeah, I even it's kind of crazy, house parties and stuff. I saw a TikTok today where a lady was talking to her younger brother, and her younger brother was like, "Hey, I stumbled upon this video. Is this how like house parties were in 2016?"
Oh my God.
And then his sister's like, "Yeah, you want me to show you?" And she pulls out her Snapchat. She's like, "This is how house parties were
All
People
the
are-
time.
Yeah, all the time. People are dancing with each other, drinks, whatever. Everyone's having a good time." And they're like, "Yeah, no one throws parties like that anymore." And if they do throw a house party, it's like they're sitting down on the couch, hanging out. Like it's not.
We forgot.
Yeah, it's not a party. It's just
No.
a get together. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're right. I think everyone forgot how life was before then.
Even within our industry, I hear this all the time. And I remember at my shop, like Friday night would come around in my place because we always like went way, way past closing hours. That's where a lot of the reps would come and hang out on Friday night. Maybe a huge party.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the reps would go out together, do other things. Like whenever they were in town together, they always went and partied together at night. That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of reps be like, "Do you think we'll ever get back to that?" Like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, we all talk like we want to do it, but none of us are doing it.
You know what I think it is too, though? A lot of large companies bought out like mom and pop shops during COVID
There
or
was a
towards the
lot.
end of COVID, right? And like you don't feel like comfortable going to those spots. I mean, there's a handful of places that we all go to where it's like, yeah, you say hi to the owner and the manager that's been there for years. All the locals, whatever. But then it's like you go, it's like we go to Winter Park. And it's like those guys don't care about you. The manager's never going to come. They're going to come talk to you and be like, "How was everything?" "Oh, it was good." Great. Boom. Leave.
So weird.
It's like there's
I don't
none of
like
that
that.
connection.
What I will say too is, and kind of what you were saying about staying out later in Orlando, really Central Florida, because of Disney, everything has to close at 2 a.m. the latest.
Okay.
So whether you're at a bar, whatever it
Doesn't
is,
matter.
2 a.m. is like the cutoff.
Okay.
I mean, prior to COVID though, places would stay open till 3 or 4,
Yeah.
or you could at least sit outside
Yeah.
with your buddies, whatever, and smoke cigars, drink, whatever.
Yeah, you used to have private clubs, like you go
Yeah.
to, you pay an entry fee and you become a member for the night, you know what I mean?
And there's not.
And now,
Nah.
it's like they don't do that anymore.
But even, I mean, places that we would go to that did close at 2 a.m. because that was the law, hang out outside for a little bit, hour or two extra, whatever. They don't do that anymore. And it was really kind of after COVID where they had such big regulation. It's like, well, you know what? Then the complex gets involved and they're like, yeah, you got to go home.
It's like, no. Yeah, the bars could close at 2, but you also got to leave here by 2. And it's
Yeah.
like, next thing you know, bars are doing last call at,
Yeah.
12:45, you know what I mean? It's like,
And you're like, so how old are you now?
I'm 26.
26. So you're like that's a strange age for all this to have gone down because
Yeah.
you were in college.
I mean, we
Yeah.
turned 21 like right before COVID, I
Yeah.
think.
wow. So I'm sitting there like, man, there was a world like that you guys don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we were part of that world, just, we weren't 21.
Oh, okay. All right.
But no, to be fair.
Yeah, when we turned 21, though, like we caught the end of it. And
Yeah.
then it all just shut
And
down.
then it just died. That's so strange.
Yeah.
And there's that saying where it's like you turn 21 and you stop partying and you're a wine drinker now and we had that like full force because it was like we couldn't even party if we wanted to.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we started drinking wine all the time. We're like, hey, let's get a bottle. Well, it's like 2 glasses you, 2 glasses me.
And we could sit outside.
Yeah, we'll sit outside and like that's what happened.
That's too funny.
So then it's like we never went out. We're just like, we'd go out to like we'd have like little get-togethers at the houses and stuff. But yeah, it was just like we turned into wine drinkers.
That's way too funny. And now the wine market's crashed.
Has it?
Y'all
Has
bad.
wine-
Like really bad.
Yeah.
So it skyrocketed. Like wine went through the freaking roof
Yeah.
during COVID.
Oh,
and I
'cause-
guess
yeah.
might be similar to like what you're saying. Like,
I think a lot of people started collecting wines during COVID.
yeah.
Like especially I guess us getting into wines, but then also the avid wine drinkers who would collect here and there. They started
Stockpiling.
Yeah, they're stockpiling. They're trying to find something
Uh-huh.
so they could feel again, right? It's
So yeah,
like-
too, if you're not going out or if you're not having, parties or hangouts anymore, you're not really drinking wine. I mean, most
Yeah.
people I feel like don't want to drink by themselves, maybe with their wife or something, but it's like, I don't sit at home and drink.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I
Yeah.
want to do this, if
I'm not gonna go to a club and order a glass of wine.
Well, that too, yeah.
No,
It's like
don't be that guy.
I want a double gin and tonic. Hold the tonic, all right?
You got some gin over there if you want it.
Crazy.
It was crazy times.
Yeah. I try not to think about it, but when I do, it's like oddly terrifying and nostalgic at the same time.
I think it's great. Like we can look back and laugh about it. too,
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, I try not to think about it either. But when I was in California, I would just go to like the mom and pop liquor store and then like any mom and pop burger place that would still stay open, especially after hours, and put my money there
Yep.
because they seem
Support
to care
those
and support
people.
those people.
Yep. Agreed.
And
So-
thank God, I mean, we had a lot of people that supported us that way.
Yeah.
Because, we had a few restaurants in Orlando, but we're by no means a franchise. And thank God for our regulars. I mean,
That's your backbone.
You
That's
know.
your foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they would come in for lunch.
Yeah.
They'd come in for dinner.
And
you
during
know.
that 2-month period too, where they were actually closed down, their restaurant that he worked at was by the Orlando airport, so it was like a 40-minute drive.
Okay.
I would go there because I would just sit there at the bar and they didn't say anything
Dig
to
it.
me. Yeah,
Dig
so
it.
Yeah, I'm not, yeah.
That's
Well,
cool.
what's crazy is trying to find movers. So I moved my car, moved all my stuff
Yeah, during that
during COVID.
Good
in
luck.
California.
How
it took-
bad was that?
It took a while. I had to stay with somebody for a while, actually.
dang,
Oh, you got out of there, and that's what matters.
Exactly.
all part of God's plan.
It's true.
So would you attest 2020, 2021 to a big part of the growth that your company?
1000%. I mean, the whole industry grew for sure,
Yeah.
but time, like life is timing. Everything revolves around timing. And for us, like that 2016 to 2020, it was just Justo and his wife doing everything. And, that initial inertia took some time. When you were gone for 8 years, people forget about you. Even though Camacho was a huge company, once they sold the name Camacho to Davidoff, they did this 8-year non-compete. You don't just come back and people like, oh, and right now, perfect example is what La Aurora is going through. They were gone for so long, and I'm always like, man, I used to smoke a ton of La Aurora, and now it's like, oh yeah, they're back, right? It takes time. It's like starting all over again. And it was that 2020 boom that just worked great, and it was like, oh, I might as well try something new. I mean, it was really good. We got so many younger people that were grabbing our product back then, and even now, like initially, the thought was Aladino comes back in. It's going to be the old Camacho smokers, like, oh, they're back. The Aroa family's back. I'm going to buy that. Not really what happened. It was younger crowd, the 25 to 40-year-olds.
Yeah,
that's who really the tobacco nerds in that age group. That's who really were our foundation for sure.
I think too with that age group, and like us as an example, is when you get someone that is new to cigars, it's much more easier to kind of mold them to specific brands and stuff like that. Because obviously, like coming in not knowing anything, you go to the tobacconist and say, well, what should I try?
Yeah.
What do you recommend? So, if you're affiliated with a brand, you're able to be like, okay, well, let's say you're at a shop representing Aladino. I'm here. Let me make you a recommendation I want you to try. And someone that's newer, they try that. And like you said you were smoking the same cigar for 2 years.
2 years.
So that could be, this cigar could be something that is a staple and a foundation for what these people smoke.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, my personal story, when I started smoking, I was 18 and a family friend of mine said to smoke Padron because that was the best. Okay. According to them, like, that's the best cigar. And so I went in not knowing anything. I'm like, let me get a Padron. And they're like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know.
I just want a Padron.
And this guy gave me a 1926 Maduro for my first smoke.
Oh my God.
Which actually was a great experience.
Yeah?
Thankfully, I got a shorter one, but I smoked it. I really liked it, and that's what got me into cigars. So I was smoking Padron for a while. And then someone told me about Davidoff. And I'm
that's
like,
a whole different thing.
Whole different thing. So, and I'm like, well, this is great too. Different experience. Then after spending a lot of my money on Padron and Davidoff, I'm like, can I get something that's good for like $10?
Yeah.
And that's when you really started opening up to all these different brands. 100%. And Aladino was one of them. The Corojo Reserva, that was more in the, like, at the time, $12 to $15 range. And then out there, it's like, okay, there is a whole nother world of cigars that we could try.
Yep. I love that. I love hearing that. The journey is part of the fun, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, Alex got me into Davidoff, because when he started smoking, he found out he needed smoking buddies, right? So then he hits me up, and then he got me into cigars, and I'm on my way to the cigar lounge looking up how to smoke a cigar correctly, you know what I mean? But I was smoking Davidoffs all the time, and just like you, every Friday night, grabbing your cigar, I was grabbing the late hour,
yeah,
and then same thing. We're like, this gets expensive.
Yeah,
you're buying a 20 at the time it was $22, I think. $22, every like Friday, Saturday night I would get one, and I would just smoke and relax because I'm like, we would go there at like midnight or 11 p.m. and I'm like, what better cigar to get than a late hour because it's a late hour.
Do you remember your first smoke? You said it earlier, but what was the actual brand?
I think he's not going to say what it is because
I feel like I try not to talk shit because like I love everything about this industry. It's not a bad cigar whatsoever. It's just like, I'll be honest, since I smoked that La Flor Dominicana, not one time have I smoked that cigar ever again.
We'll say that was his first cigar.
That's your first.
his first good
La
cigar.
Flor Dominicana L500 was literally what woke me up. That's my first.
There you go. Yeah. And a great brand too. Absolutely.
We have like 4 companies punching the air right now. Was it our cigar?
No, yeah. But, and then real quick too, because we're approaching the end of our cigars, this was fantastic all the way
like
through.
That.
Can I ask how aged the wrapper and the tobacco is on the cigar?
The wrapper on that, at this point, you're looking at 7.
Oh, okay.
On the wrapper.
Okay.
And then most everything else is going to be closer to 4, around 4.
It tastes, you get that vintage tobacco taste for sure.
Yeah.
off the wrapper and a little bit of the filler as well. I mean, it is fantastic. What did you think?
I thought it was great. It changed flavors a little bit, like midway. So? I mean, for me, midway through, but then like it like came back. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. Yeah. You know, it kept me, you know, interested. Yeah. I'm like, oh, like I got to a point when once I passed like that first third, it kind of changed a little bit. And I don't know why. This is why I picked up like more like floral notes for like a little bit.
There's a lot of floral notes.
Yeah. So I picked that up more in like the center, and then it kind of started to dissipate again. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, it's pretty good.
Now I'm getting a little more spice towards the end.
Yeah, definitely more spice.
But yeah, definitely floral notes. It's definitely, you can tell it's vintage tobacco. It's been aged for a long time for sure. So I mean, you could say like average 5 years.
That's the other thing. Like I'm like, oh, there's 7. You're like, 6 to 9 probably. It's somewhere in there. Yeah. Like. That's because we had to stockpile it, right? So they're not all the same age, but they're all super aged.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jared?
Mine's super consistent throughout. And like I said before, the retrohale, no burn. I think it's amazing.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like the James Bond effect where like it's strong, but it's smooth at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah,
I mean, that's what I really like. And I like consistency throughout. So if that stays the same all the time,
I love that cigar.
Buy it again, you know?
And I will say, too, I think that, and we kind of touched on it, the American market generally has liked stronger cigars. And what I think we're seeing in this industry is you can have a strong cigar, but still a smooth cigar. Nothing that is super spicy or like punch you in the face.
Can we get into that a little bit?
Let's do it.
Absolutely,
no, seriously.
yeah.
And what I'm getting at is something like this, where it's like, listen, I don't want a cigar that necessarily punches me in the face. I want strong flavor, maybe like medium to full strength, but that is smooth and that I can retrohale.
Americans are really terrible at talking about strength when it comes to both coffee and tobacco. Like we don't have it right.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, whatever the masses say is kind of what it is. But like Europeans, they understand the difference between strength and body.
Right.
And they'll talk about it in that way. The American market just doesn't do it. And so when it comes to strength, for me, I'm usually talking about the nicotine. Does this cigar have more nicotine than others? Is it, oh, okay, all right, there's something going on here, I'm waking up sort of thing.
Yeah.
But typically when I hear somebody all the time, like I'll tell them that's a strong cigar. They'll smoke it and like, wasn't strong at all. And I'm like, give me your top 5 strong cigars, please. I want to know. And they list them. And I'm always like, I try not to be a jerk about how I say it because I think education is important. And I'm not talking down because what I tell that person is like, okay, you don't like strong tobacco. You like young tobacco. And that's okay. You like young tobacco. To me, that young is what like gives you that punch to the face. Like, whoa, like that's younger tobacco. Has nothing to do with nicotine. You can be young and full of nicotine too. That can definitely happen. But when people give me certain lists, I'm like, okay, you want to know the age of the cigar that you're going to smoke to a certain degree because you, sir, do not like aged tobacco. So don't say strength. Like, you know, you have to talk about it in very literal words. But that's part of the education process that I think Americans need to listen a little bit more. And we have to do a better job of giving that education and coming from a way that doesn't sound like we're being jerks about it. Because like, and coffee's the same way. People are like, oh, Starbucks, real strong coffee. And I'm like,
it's
super light. Yeah.
It's not strong at all. It might be over roasted and maybe that's what you like.
Right.
Like,
that's more of the
fine.
I mean, and two, when I came into cigars, and I'm sure most of us can say the same thing, you have that misconception of darker is generally stronger.
Yeah.
But then we're missing the whole, is it the nicotine strength? Is it young tobacco? Is it flavor?
Yeah.
So you have that, and a lot of people can learn to come out of that rather quickly. But then you have the misconception of what is full body and what is strength, like you said. And that was my second issue was like, okay, well, for me, I thought full body meant full strength.
Yeah.
And then I find out that it's nothing entirely. And when someone gave me the wine analogy, that helped me understand it more. Because it's like, okay, you can have a full body wine that's not high in alcohol, 100%. So to say.
It's like some people judge the wrapper as like, if it's dark, it's going to be stronger.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's another thing. Like I try to tell people all the time, I was like, all right, sadly, because a lot of us see dark, we think strength. A lot of companies will make sure that a dark cigar is a strong cigar as well. But it gets dark. That's the sugars coming out. Like you hung it longer, the sugars came out. It should be sweeter if it's dark.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with the quote unquote strength of the cigar. It's just, that should be a sweeter, more semi-sweet sort of experience with a dark cigar. And certain companies, like I smoke one, I'm like, oh my gosh, the one I missed so much was the Dunhill aged Maduro. Oh my God. Not a strong cigar at all, but dark and rich, and just like that's what a Maduro is supposed to be. I miss that cigar. And for us, especially with Justo and Julio, they'll both tell you when we're blending a cigar, we don't care about strength at all.
Yeah.
We blend a cigar for a flavor profile. And it's certain of them, like, oh, there just tends to be, we have to put more Ligero in this one to get the flavor that we're looking for. Like that cigar right there, there is a the Ligero in there is super special. And I don't know of anybody else using that. And that's one reason we don't disclose it. We don't want everybody knowing.
Off camera, right? Off
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah. But that's what makes that cigar have the nicotine. It's that Ligero. But if that blend didn't need that extra flavor profile, Julio would not have made it a strong cigar. We blend for flavor, and the strength just is what it is at the end of the day.
And I think that's what's great about companies like yours when blending these new cigars is that if you can focus more on the flavor and the experience, you can kind of convert people to say, okay, well, I don't necessarily need strength, whatever they believe that means to them.
Yeah.
I'm more about flavor, which is, I think, what we've kind of all evolved to over time is like, does this cigar taste great? Does it have great flavor? Is it full flavor?
And for me,
that's what I strive for.
To me, I like it when it doesn't change.
Yeah.
Because that was a guarantee. When I paid $15, $20, whatever.
You want it to be consistent and the same throughout. And
just like when I order, like a old fashioned, I don't want that to change halfway through. Same thing. And it's a good pairing too.
So, and I'm both. It depends on my mood in that day. Do I want a cigar that really tricks me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If so,
if you had a whiskey that tricked you, that'd be weird.
That'd be a little weird. But every once in a while, like I remember, like for me, if I smoke something that has a flavor profile or it does something that is new to me, whether I love or hate that cigar, I'll be like, I got to smoke that again because I don't understand what's going on. And then one of them, like it took me a long time to figure out if I loved or hated this cigar, and it was the Superfly. And I was like, I don't know. It's weird, but I keep smoking it. And I just kept smoking it. And I'm like, well, I must not hate it because I keep buying it.
Yeah.
But it was just because it was so different and unique. And honestly, that's what got me on Aladino. And it took me a while. Justo, explained to me that, well, nobody else grows this Corojo. This is the original Corojo. It's unhybridized. It's the same since what it was in the 40s and 50s. And nobody else does that. That's why it doesn't taste like anything you've ever had. And I was like, that got me excited. The nerd in me really wakes up to hear that stuff.
I think I kind of touched about it on a recent podcast, but if a lot of times what I've found is if a company is trying to create a cigar that does change first third, second third, final third, it might not actually turn out as good as if they're just focusing on the tobacco itself, the flavors that they can create from that tobacco in that cigar. So a lot of times, like in Jared's experience, he likes a cigar that stays consistent because that flavor is so good and they've done such a good job blending it that it's not going to disappoint him. And you can have a cigar that is fantastic, that does change, for the first third to second third. But I think it should happen more organically instead of trying to focus on creating that change. The main focus should be on the flavor itself rather than trying to make it change.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. That's the art form, right? You don't just have an idea in your head and you just go try to create it from the field. You let the field dictate it. You listen to the tobacco. Like, that's the real art form.
Right. And that might be similar to a company that might try to create a $30 cigar instead of creating a cigar that comes out to become the value of $30.
Honestly, I think you just made a really good point, and I'm looking at things a little bit differently right now. So there's not many of us that grow all the tobacco. Most of your companies are buying tobacco from the ones of us that do grow, and they're creating their own experience. So in a way, they probably look at blending differently than we would because they're like, I want this type of cigar. And like you're looking at your menu of tobacco you can order and try to create that.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're the grower, it's like we have to just listen to the tobacco and let it do its thing, and we'll just try to make it elevated.
Yeah.
And that makes sense.
And I hadn't really thought about that till that's why we do these things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I think if you can create a great cigar, and let's say like you use vintage tobacco like this, the tobacco is aged for so long, it's a top, 5-10% of the tobacco yield, let's say, and you determine at the end that the value is going to be higher.
Mhm.
Let's say you determine it's $20 or $25. Then the consumer would see that it's worth it. But I think a lot of times where if you say, I want to create a $40 cigar,
Yeah.
and then you try to reach that value, it's a lot harder than if it happens organically.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing when pricing comes into play, a lot of people don't understand why certain cigars are priced so differently than others. But honestly, in this industry, you can make anything up you want to. Like that certainly exists. But on a lot of things, like all this tobacco, like it doesn't cost the same. And even like for our Reserva, for the Corojo Reserva, right? That's the exact same blend as the original Corojo. They're both Corojo Puros. The Reserva is just the top 2 leaves, right? You're taking the best leaves from every plant, but you're only getting a couple leaves from each plant. So there's not as much of it.
Right.
And it's the prized part of the plant. So you can have 2 different blends and you're like, well, why is this one $4 more expensive than the other one? And I'm like, honestly, it should probably be more than $4 more expensive because we don't have near the amount of tobacco for this as we do that. And if we were to sell it on the market to other companies, it would be very expensive. The wrapper on the Fuminoche, extremely expensive wrapper if we were to sell it to other people. Which again, for us, cool, we could go make a bunch of money to do that. Or we could just be like, well, we have a pretty cool cigar.
Yeah.
And it's not cheap, but it's not expensive, and we're happy. And it's different than anything else in the market. There's only one cigar that I think is kind of in that realm of flavor profile. You tell me if you agree or disagree, because it's unique. But I think, like, for me, the little Lanox is a similar experience. That's the closest thing I know to that type of profile.
The LFD Lanox. I don't know if you remember that one. It's
It's been a while.
Black band, blue with the moon on it. That is a really good cigar too.
It's great, but it also is like, up until that line, I was like, the Lanox is kind of its own thing. There's really nothing out there that has a similar vibe. And that one doesn't taste like the Lanox, but it's the closest thing to it. They're kind of their own thing out there. And off camera, I'll tell you guys the makeup of that, and you'll be like, what? Like, yeah, it's a wild combination.
Looking forward to learning about it.
It's the only cigar that we make that has 0 Corojo.
Oh, really? Okay.
Everything else has Corojo somewhere, somehow. Not that one.
So I got the special cigar tonight.
Yeah. You got the best choice. I think we're wrapping up here, finishing our cigars. We're at that hour-ish mark. So I want to thank you, Trey, for coming on.
Oh, absolutely.
We had a great time.
Yeah.
You're welcome back on anytime.
Awesome.
Absolutely. And thank you for the cigars. Aladino has been, from my experience, one of those brands that I started out with. So I'm very pleased to see kind of the evolution of the brand and these new cigars that I get to try today. They've all been great. But yeah, definitely check out Aladino if you haven't yet. They make fantastic cigars. And until next week, we'll see you later. Take care.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Cigar Guys Podcast. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with all the latest episodes. Looking for short-form content? Check out all our social media accounts in the description below. And now, a final word from our sponsors.
What if every cigar was considered vintage? What if every cigar that we made was that perfect experience? And so that passion drove us to create Sans Pareil, a cigar without equal. The inspiration between Sans Pareil is 100% all about quality. Everything that we enjoy in our cigars, everything from the tasting notes to the burn, to the aroma, to the way the cigar lights, to the packaging, everything is focused on Sans Pareil cigars. And that's where we came up with our name, Sans Pareil, which is French for without equal, unparalleled. And we take every cigar that we make to that level, making sure that if it isn't something that inspires you to do something more, then it's not part of the portfolio, and that's what drives us every day.